Hello everybody. So this is going to be a video about my Gold Award presentation. My name is Desiree Basales and I'm from Troop 1083. And so my presentation for my Gold Award was about the dangers of cyberbullying and how parents can help their teens and young children from being cyberbullied or help them if they are in a cyberbullying situation. So to assess how well I was reaching my audience, I created a small survey for the parents to take both before and after my presentation. So this is what the survey looked like. It was double-sided with the same questions printed on both the front and the back. And the idea was to have each parent fill out the questions before I gave my presentation to see what they knew beforehand, and then after I gave my presentation to see how well my audience was reached. So for the first question, it stated, does the bully or the victim show higher rates of depression and anxiety in cases of cyberbullying? So the correct answer to this was the victim, and about 55% of my audience knew this before I gave my presentation. So I was pleased with that. And then the next question was, what is another name for traditional bullying? Now, only 5% of my audience actually got this one right. So the other name for this was schoolyard bullying. I got a lot of answers that said things like harassment or picking on or something like that, which are all good answers, but it was not the answer that I was looking for or that was stated in my presentation. The third question was, what percentage of students have experienced cyberbullying? So this percentage is not directly a direct percentage. It's basically a range. So between 20 and 25% of students have reported that they have been cyberbullied. So about 5% of the audience, again, answered this correctly before the presentation was given. The next question was, how many states have laws against bullying? So the correct answer to this was 49, but the only state not having a bullying law being Montana. So not one person correctly answered this question before my presentation, so I have a total of 0%. And then the last question was, what was the most popular social media website in 2015? So I had about 20% of my audience answer this correctly. The correct answer was Facebook. So again, the back of this questionnaire had the same exact questions, just answered after I gave my presentation. So again, the first question asking about whether the bully or the victim shows higher rates of depression and anxiety. After I gave my presentation, about 80% of the audience correctly answered this question. The reason that this is not so much higher than my first survey, I think was because the question was worded a little bit weird, so I had many people answer yes, and it was not a yes or no question. So that was the reason that there wasn't much of a jump in that question. The second question, again being what is another name for traditional bullying, went from having only 5% of the audience knowing to 95% of the audience knowing. Again, the next question, what percentage of students have experienced cyberbullying? Again, this went from about 5% of the audience knowing the correct answer of 20 to 25% to 95% of the audience knowing the correct answer. The fourth question, how many states have laws against bullying? And this went from nobody in the audience knowing to 95% of the audience knowing the correct answer. And lastly, the question about the most popular social media website in 2015 went from about 20% of the audience knowing the correct answer to 100% of the audience knowing the correct answer. So I do feel that I successfully reached my audience in many of the topics that I hoped to get across. And for this reason, I think my Gold Award was very successful. Again, if you have not viewed the actual presentation of my Gold Award, I will put the link in the down bar below. Please feel free to check that out. Thank you so much and have a nice day.